Hello and welcome to the class for Tuesday, September 8th for interactive design. I'm going to go ahead and let people into the class.
Hello.
Hi Spike, how are you?
Pretty good. I finally got my books like yesterday, so
Oh, good.
yeah.
Hooray. That's awesome.
hmm
Yeah, it sounds like your microphone is sounding pretty good too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what was wrong with it before. I don't know. Like it wasn't a settings thing and the plug was all I don't know what was wrong with it before.
Okay. All right. Well, hi Trevor, how are you doing? You're probably just typing in today. Let me bring up my chat. Uh, yeah. Okay, and while you guys are jumping in, I'm going to go ahead and bring up my attendance sheet. Let's see, teach. Okay, attendance tracking. Okay, so we've got interactive design. So we have Spike is here. Trevor is here. Let's see who else is here. Renee is here. Hello, Renee. And Amelia is here. Hello, Amelia. And Renee. So who are we missing? Latisse, Livia, James, and Grady. Okay. All right, let me see if any of those guys are trying to pop in. Yeah, here's Grady. And okay, so it's just Latisse and Livia. All right. So I will go ahead and put that attendance in and then we're good. Okay. How you guys doing today?
I'm good.
Doing good? Anybody do anything fun over Labor Day? Any interesting staycations? No? It's like extremely boring. Trevor says, I gotta say, ever since we started these projects, I've been getting ads for the Peacock streaming service like crazy.
It's funny.
That's your fault, Amelia.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty funny, Trevor. Okay, well, welcome. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can look at the class website and see what we're doing today. pima.dreamco.com. And we'll go to interactive design. Okay, and then we'll go to the Zoom and we'll share the screen and hit share. Okay, so you guys should be able to see my screen now. So let me try and make this a little bigger so it's easier to read. Okay. All right, so we'll start out by looking at anything that you guys have created or worked on since last class. So have any of you guys made any progress on either creating a storyboard or creating an animatic or taking your animatic a little further down the road? Anybody have some work that we can check out?
I uploaded an updated file.
Okay, cool. So let me search for Amelia. Okay, let's see. dar252. Open. Okay. This one right here. So download. Okay. That was weird. I don't know what just happened. Like, Okay. I guess animate's opening in its own weird way. Just taking a little time here, so thanks for your patience. Okay. Just making it. I don't know if you guys can hear that sound, but that's my fingers tapping on the desktop. Okay, let's see. So it looks like it's gonna not have the font, Amelia.
Okay.
And do you know how to convert fonts to outlines or anything like that?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can just turn them into graphics in this program. Okay, so here is Amelia's ad, and I'm just going to go ahead and play it for you guys. Okay, so let me kind of go through it a little slower here. So we have the screen here. It says Peacock from NBC Universal. There's the old NBC logo. It's free, no credit card required. We grab this and we start dragging it through. You see about 12 seconds in, it changes to that icon, and then that icon there, and then that one. And then that's pretty much it. Okay. All right. Any feedback for Amelia? Pardon me. Let me make sure my chat screen is on here so I can see what people are saying. Chat. Okay. So Amelia, is this Peacock logo? Should this have like sort of a transparent background so we can't see this white right here?
Yeah, that's actually just a placeholder image right now.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, I made one on Illustrator and I guess I lost it somehow, unfortunately.
Oh, you lost the Peacock logo you had in Illustrator?
Yeah.
Oh, what a
So,
bummer.
yeah,
What
I'll be working on that again.
Hey, you know what we might be able to do? Let me see if I can click on this thing. Well, is this in your library or something? Let's see. Is that okay? That is an image. Let me try something here. I don't know if this will work, but I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go into Illustrator. Have you ever done that trace bitmap thing in Illustrator?
I tried to use Live Trace, but I didn't like how it came out.
Oh, yeah, that's probably okay. That's the same thing I was going to do, but let's see. I'll see if this works. Now, while this is opening up, Trevor says, I like the idea of using all the various NBC logos, helps add movement to the ad. So thank you, Trevor. I think that's true. Now, you've got some placeholders here, I'm sure, Amelia, and there's more you want to do with this, but were you thinking that this text at the bottom would animate in it some way?
Yeah, kind of. I was just kind of figuring it out.
Okay.
Still
All right.
thinking about it.
Okay, so so one of the concepts that you can think of is this concept of staging. And the way staging works is you do one thing and then you do the next thing and then you do the next thing. So like, for example, the staging in your ad could be, first the different logos come in at the top and then it ends with the peacock, right? And then, now that one thing has happened, now the it's free, no credit card required could sort of slide in or go from transparent to fully visible. In other words, you have one thing happen and then you have the next thing happen, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so here comes Illustrator. We'll create a new document. Hello, Illustrator. Please to open someday this year. Okay. So Trevor says maybe like a fade in towards the end of that bottom text. So that's kind of what he's talking about there, what we just mentioned.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Trevor. So I'm creating my blank Illustrator document here. It's taking a small lifetime. Okay, here we go. So now let's see if we can paste that thing in. That peacock. Okay, there's our peacock. Oh, you know what? I think I know why you didn't like the way it came out. Because this is a really low resolution file.
Yeah.
So what we need is we need a high resolution version of that NBC Peacock logo. So let's see if we can find one. So let's see. Let's just go here. We'll go NBC Peacock. Oh, Letice Johnson just okay. NBC Peacock. Come on, give me a break here. NBC Peacock logo high resolution. Let's see. So this one looks pretty good right here. Yeah, that one's super. Well, this one's nice because it's already a GIF, Amelia. So let me just copy this damn thing. Copy image. Let me see if I can put it in animate. So we'll just make a new layer here. And we'll call this new logo. And then edit, paste, and center. Okay, let's see. Oh my God. the peacock that ate New York. Okay, so this is perfect. It's already there for you, and it's pretty high res. Let me zoom in here. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that for now. But okay, so Amelia, where you want to go for this is the Wikipedia page. So go to Wikipedia and click on NBC, search for NBC logo, and then download this bad boy right here. That's the high resolution peacock.
Thank you, Greg.
Okay. Trevor writes, I mean, NBC is a big company, but dang. Giant peacock. Okay. All right. And then Amelia, you know, once again, I know that this is just a mock-up, you know, an animatic and everything, but you know, are you thinking that is the word peacock gonna animate in? Is it just gonna be there? You know what I'm saying?
It's just gonna be stationary. The main animation is gonna be actually animating this peacock logo on top.
Okay, so right. So in other words, this peacock from NBC Universal and all these dots will be here. These will animate in, and then maybe you'll do some sort of animation with these guys at the bottom.
Yeah, and then there were I started working on a button to link to the website.
Oh, perfect. Okay, and then click here kind of button down at the
Mhm.
bottom. Okay, perfect. Okay, and actually, I'm glad you said that because one of the things I wanted to do today was show you guys how you could do a button. So I kind of need to do a little survey here. How many of you guys are familiar enough with Adobe Animate that you can do things like make buttons and stuff? Any of you guys, Amelia, you know how? Okay.
Oh, but not really. I could use a breeze run through.
Okay. All right, great. So let's do a brief run through of button action here. So So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull Amelia's timeline up a little bit here, and pull her ad up so it's a little easier to see, and just demo here on her document. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer by clicking on this little plus symbol here, and I'm going to call this button, right? And then I'm going to make just a example button right here. Now, this button is going to have a couple of different properties. First of all, it's going to be able to change its state. And I don't mean moving from Arizona to California, which is what we'd all like to do. I mean that it's going to be able to change so that when it's on the screen, it's in what's called the up state, and it looks a certain way. And when you hover over it, it changes its state. It changes its color. And then when you click on it, it can change its state again, right? So we're going to look at state changes and you know how hovering and clicking changes a button. And then it'll also be able to link to somewhere. In this case, you know, she'll link it to the NBC website or whatever. Okay, so what we'll do is, you know, obviously in Amelia's animation, the button is going to show up probably near the end after all this junk comes in. So I'll just go down to a certain point in our animation. I'll go down here to 2 seconds. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to control click on a Mac or right click on a PC where I want the button to appear. And I'm going to insert a blank keyframe. And of course, a blank keyframe is like a placeholder, which will keep the playback head at that position so that you can do things, right? Now what I'm going to do is, you know, if you're going to make a button, you can use these different shape tools over here. I'm going to click on the rectangle tool. You notice they have something called the rectangle primitive tool. The oval tool, we have the oval primitive tool. So let's click on the rectangle tool. Let me go to the rectangle primitive tool. I got to move you guys over here so I can see my stuff here. Now, for the rectangle options, I'm going to put in the number 10 here. And what that represents is the corner radius of the rectangle. So that's going to allow you to make a rounded rectangle. So now I can come down here and I can click and I can drag out a button. Now I'm just going to make this an oversized button just so it's easy for us to see, right? Okay, so now what happened is we have the button itself, which is made. And now I can click on my type tool, my text tool, right here. I can change the color of my text either over here in this fill box or over on the right side where these properties are, where it says fill. I can click on that and I can change it to high contrast color with blue, which will be white. And I'll click and drag this out. You know, it could be yellow or whatever. And I'll just say click here or something like that. And then reduce that in size to fit on the button. I can use my paragraph feature to center this. Oh, so if we open paragraph and click center, that will center that in there. And I can use my, of course, I'm in the properties box over here. I can change my, my font right at this point, and I can go ahead and change that to something like, let's see what looks good. Arial rounded MT bold. Okay, good. Now, you can grab your text, and you guys can open up Adobe Animate if you want, and just make a little button like this. Go along with me if you like, or you can just kind of watch this. Of course, the lesson is being recorded, so you'll be able to watch this later and do it if you want. Okay, so now on my button layer, I have both the button itself and the click here text, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both the button and the click here text, and I'm going to go under modify, and I'm going to do something called converting this to a symbol. And you convert items to symbols when you either want to animate them or add some sort of interactivity to them. So I'm going to convert this to a symbol. There's 3 types of symbols we can make. Graphic symbols, which are just plain animations. Buttons, which is what we're going to do here. And then there's something called a movie clip, which is an animation that has its own timeline. So it's like a movie within a movie, right? Okay, so we're going to name this button, and we'll just call it, you know, the click here button. You can name it whatever you want, and we'll hit OK. Now, after you turn something into a symbol, it gets a little blue line around it. And that's how you can tell that it's a symbol, right? Now, in the case of a button, if you double click on a button symbol, you get a really weird timeline right down here. And what it is the timeline actually is representative of the different button states. Now, there's 3 button states: up, which is what it looks like when the button is sitting on the stage; over, which is what it looks like when you hover over it; and down, which is what it looks like when you click on it, right? Now, also, there's this 4th button here, this 4th box here called hit. And hit represents the hit area, which means where is it that you're going to hover your mouse or click to affect this button. So let me show you something simple you can do just to get all of these states taken care of right away. The button symbol only appears when you double click on the button symbol. It only appears in the first state here, which is up. Well, you can click in the next state, which is over. You can control click in there, and you can insert a keyframe. And that's going to put the blue button in the over state. So you roll over it and it's a blue button. You then click in the down state and you insert a keyframe. That means when you click on it, it's going to turn blue. And then finally, you go into the hit state and insert the keyframe as well. Now, what that's done is basically you filled every box with something. And you want that. You need the hit state to be filled so it knows, you know, what the geographic area is that triggers the button. And then you need the other 3 things filled so that at least something shows up when you roll over it and click on it. Now, if you want to change the color of the button every time that somebody does a different action, like roll over it or click on it, you have to go to that state. So right now, here's the over state down here. If I click on that state, I can now double click on the button and I can manipulate any of these options that I want. I can change the way the text looks, or I can change the way the color of the button is, right? Now, let's see. If I double click on the blue part here, it says to edit this object, animate must convert it to a drawing object. So I'm going to hit OK. So now I can click on this blue. I can come over here to my my color picker here, and I can change it to a different color, which is green, right? Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and hit this back arrow here to go back to my main stage here. And now you're going to see that in the up state, when the button's just sitting on the stage, it's blue. But when you hover over it, it's going to turn green, right? Now I'm going to do the same with the down state. I click on the down state here. I try to avoid clicking on the text itself and just click on the button itself on the end. It says, hey, I have to change this into a drawing object, and we say, okay. And then I go ahead and I select this color, and I'll change this to pink so it's real obvious, or red, I guess. Now I'll click this arrow up at the top to go back to the main screen. And now we've got this. Blue is the upstate, green when you roll over it, red is the down state, and of course the hit area is the whole button, right? Now, what I'm in what's called symbol edit mode for the button, which is where you can see these states. If I want to get back to the main animation, I have to click this little arrow up here at the top. And now I am back at the main animation. Now, if I test this animation out in the browser, it's going to be kind of janked because I dragged in this little peacock. In fact, I think my peacock might cover up all of her little peacocks. And then I've got this click here button. Let's see what happens when it shows it up. It's taking just a second to, okay, here it is. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah. So there's all it's looping, right? So you can see that all the little things are coming up there, and there's my peacock there. And then you can see the little click here button. But watch this. When I roll over the click here button, here, let me make this bigger. You guys can't see this. It's too small. Okay, so there's her animations running by, right? Now look, there's a click here button. Notice that when I roll over it, it turns green, right? That's the rollover, the over state. And watch, this time I'll roll over it and click on it, and it turns red. Okay, so roll over green, click red. You guys see that? Okay. All right, now, so that's how you do a button. That's how you do the rollover aspect of a button. We can go back to the timeline here. Now, the next part of it is putting some kind of interactivity on the button. So what she wants is, so when you click on the button, you can then go to the NBC website, right? Which we'll just say is nbc.com, right? Now, what you have to do is you have to click on the button itself, and you have to add something called an action to the button, right? And in order to add an action, what you do is you open up your actions window. So you go up here to window, and you open up what's called actions. Now, actions are a form of code that allow things to be interactive. Now, in Adobe Animate, there's two kinds of files you can make. You can make what's called a flash file, which is something that will, sort of an outdated format. It'll run in a closed environment, like it'll run on your computer, it'll run on a kiosk, but it won't run on the internet. Or you can create an HTML5 file, which will run on the internet. Now, it looks like Amelia's created an HTML5 file, which is, what I'd like you guys to be working in. And the way that you can tell what kind of file you create is when you go File, New, it'll ask you what kind of file you want to create, an HTML file or a Flash file, right? Now, if you're going to do something like an ad for the web, then all you have to do is click on Web here, and then you choose just any one of these, file sizes or whatever, low, medium, high, and hit create, and it's going to create a HTML5 file. Now, if you click on ads, it'll also do the same thing. It's called HTML5 canvas, right? And I think most of you just chose to make ads, so you should be good. Okay, so let's see how we make her button interactive, right? So what happens is you open up the ActionScript window, and there's a little flashing cursor here. Now, in addition, you want to open up what are called the code snippets, which are little helper pieces of code, which will do things for you. You can open the code snippets by clicking on this little double handle here. It's double hard angle brackets there. And then it brings up the code snippets. ActionScript code snippets are for Flash files, and HTML5 canvas are for HTML files. So we'll open HTML5 canvas, and we'll look at the different options here. So there's something called timeline navigations, which will basically move the playback head down the timeline. It'll stop at frames, it'll play at frames. There's something called actions, and here's the one we want, click to go to web page, right? So what we'll do is we'll just simply double click on this, click to go to web page. And it'll say the selected symbol requires an instance name. Animate will create an instance name before applying the code snippet. So we'll hit OK. And now what it does over here, let's see, in the properties, it should have created an instance name for this thing. Let me click on it. Yeah. So what happened over here in the properties, it created an instance name called button_1. Okay. And then it dropped in the code, which disappeared for some bizarre reason when I clicked off of it. There's the code. It looks like it applied the code to the frame and not the button, which is really weird and not what I want. So let me try that whole thing again. So I'm going to delete this. Once again, I'm going to click on my button here. And now the button is called button 1. And I'm going to double click to go to web page. And let's see. Okay, yeah, I see what it did. So yeah, it puts the ActionScript in the frame itself. And you can tell that by seeing this little A in the frame at 2 seconds, that little tiny A right there. But even though it puts the action in the frame itself, it's referring to the button because it's saying button 1, which is the name that it gave to this button. So basically what it says is, it says up here at the top, there's some gray code, which are called comments. And this tells you how this works. It says, okay, this is click to go to web page. It says replace the adobe.com with the desired URL. Okay, so we can take the adobe.com, we can replace it with nbc.com. And then when we open this up, if we click on that link, it should take us to NBC. So now let's test it out. So test movie. Of course, HTML5 movies will only open in a web browser. So here it is. Of course, the button only comes in at the end there. But if we click on it, then sure enough, it takes us to nbc.com, where we can watch Transplant. Okay. I don't know any of these shows. Is there anybody watching? Amelia, for your research, are you watching Peacock?
No, not yet, actually.
Okay. Is anybody watching any of these Peacock shows?
No.
No. All these shows I don't know and more. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I guess it's a bunch of brand new shows that we all have to either get educated to or just completely ignore, right? Okay. Letice, you're certainly watching those shows, right?
No, absolutely not. I'm not. I'm out of the loop.
What if it was your homework to watch these shows? Would you do it, or would you rebel?
I would do it because it's
Oh.
not that I love watching shows. I just don't do it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it would be. I think it would fall under the constitutionally forbidden rubric of a cruel and unusual punishment to force you to watch these Peacock shows. So I won't do it. Okay. Does anybody need me to go over any aspect of that button making, or did that make sense to you guys?
That makes sense. If we're gonna use a button on our project, do we need to put in a website?
You mean, do you need to put in a website to go to?
Yeah, like if we made up our own company. So I don't really have a website.
No. Well, what you can do is you can put in a fake URL if you want.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't matter if it doesn't go anywhere, but or if you want, you could send it to Yahoo or whatever. It doesn't matter. It might be a good idea to send it to a real site to make sure it works.
Okay, deal.
Now, remember, buttons can do different things. You can make buttons move down the timeline. Like here, let me show you an example. One of the things that you guys need to know about making these projects is you need to know how to stop your animations, right? So what you do is when you're making your project, always make a top layer and call it actions. That's where you put in all the little action script and stuff, right? Now, in the case of Amelia's project, we want it to stop, right here where the button is at the end, right? So what I'll do, I'll go to the very last frame of her project. I'll right click and I'll insert a blank keyframe. And of course, a blank keyframe is just a placeholder that lets you do things, right? Now, I want to go ahead and put some action script in. So I open up my action window. I click in there. I open up my code snippets by clicking here. And then the action I want is a timeline navigation. I want to stop the animation at this frame. So what I do is I double click stop at this frame. This little code here, you don't have to keep this code. This is just what a comment in light gray. It tells you how it works. And basically it's saying, well, I want you to stop at this frame, right? Okay, good. So now when we watch her animation in the browser, instead of just looping and looping and looping, it should just run once and then stop. And that's what it does, right? And so now that it's stopped, we can do things like roll over this button, click on this button, and so on and so forth. Now, you always want to have a stop at the end of your animation because that's what will keep it from going looping infinitely, right? Now, let's say that what I wanted to do was, let's say instead of having this button send you to the NBC website to watch their wonky shows, what I wanted it to do was I wanted this button to send you down the timeline to basically a different scene in this little animation, right? So what I can do, Amelia's animation stops at a little past 3 seconds at about frame 74. If I go up here to frame 75 and insert a blank keyframe, basically we're in the void, we're in nothingness because Amelia doesn't have anything down there, right? But I can come down here and I can say, let's say you're working on your project here, and this is where you're going to put a new scene. So we can say, you know, this is where the new scene will go. Now I'm calling it a new scene basically when you change, you know, the background or the visuals that are on the stage, right? Okay, so now we know that frame 75 is where the new scene is going to be, right? So if we go back to this button here, instead of making it so the button takes you to NBC, we can make the button take you to frame 75, which would be where the next scene is. So in other words, it could say instead of click here to go, you know, to go to the website or whatever, it could say click here to read about our new shows. And then it could take you to another part of the animation where they have more information, right? Now, if I want to change this button so that instead of going to NBC, it goes to 75, frame 75, I have to open up my actions again. And I basically have to get rid of all this junk in here, right? Click on my button again, which already has a instance name, which is button 1. An instance name is a name that you use to call that particular object in the code. Now I can use my code snippets again over here, but this time I want to do timeline navigation. So what I want to do is I want to say click to go to a frame and stop. I want them to click on this button, go to frame 75 and stop. So all I have to do is double click on this. It drops the code in. Up here are the instructions, right? It says replace the replace the number 5 with the number that you want people to go to when they click on this button. So we can replace that number 5 with number 75, and that's going to be the frame. Now, there is one trick to this, which is when you're using HTML5, the numbering is 1 off. Okay, let me explain that. When they first made this Flash timeline, this Flash program, you know, frame 1 was 1, right? And frame 2 was 2, right? But when they switched over to making HTML5 content, which is what this is, the first frame became called 0, right? So in the code, the first frame that you go to is actually called 0, which means that this frame here, which looks like it's frame 75, is actually frame 74. You have to subtract 1 from the frame number to go actually where you want to go in HTML5. So I have to change my number here from 75 to 74. And now that should work. Now when I click on this frame or on this button, it should take me to frame 75 where it says this is the next scene, right? This is where the next scene will go. So what I'm going to do is test this out. And you know, there could be errors. There's always errors that pop up. You know, that's why we do this. That's why we test it. So here's the peacock. There's the button. It stops at, you know, the end of the animation. And then when I click on it, it takes me to, you know, what I think of as frame 74, but what the code thinks of, or what I think of as frame 75, because that's what it says on the timeline, but the code calls it frame 74. Okay, so you can use buttons to move forward or backward in the timeline to go to any scene that you make, and you can use them to send people to external places like websites. Okay, does that make sense to you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, so I think you're doing a nice job on this animation. Amelia, it looks great. Lots of beautiful colors. I like the logos.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're still developing this stuff down here, but it's looking really good. Okay, does anybody else have anything they've been working on that we can take a look at?
I have
I'm
an
finishing mine.
Go ahead, Lydia.
Oh no, I'm finishing mine. Just in a minute.
In a minute. Okay, great. Letice, you have something that we can see now?
Yeah, it's boring, but it's kind of like a blueprint animatic.
Okay, well let's.
The type and all that, nothing's like concrete, you know, it's just placeholder type.
All right.
Real basic.
Let's see, where the heck am I? Right
And
here.
I'll have to explain some animations because it's not moving or anything.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay,
Projects.
it's right there. Contour, yeah, that's the one.
Okay, your font's gonna get hosed.
That's fine. It's been jacked up.
Okay, I'll show you guys after we're done with this how you can deal with your fonts. Okay, so I'm gonna make this bigger.
You might want to watch it in a test video.
You mean like control test?
Yeah, I don't know however you want to view it because it's kind of a lot of layers and it's funky looking.
Okay.
However you want to do it though.
Okay, it's testing. It's loading it up right now.
Boring. And then a button would appear.
To go get the mask, right?
Yeah, and I want to do like for the images to maybe slide in or transition in.
Okay. Okay. So, any feedback from you guys on what you're seeing? You know, given that this is what we call an animatic, which is an animated storyboard. You know, it's the next thing you do after a storyboard. You flop it into animate with still images and text, and then you explain kind of how it's going to work. Let's see. What do you guys think? Some feedback.
Feedback, anybody?
I like how it looks so far. I think there's a couple errors that you'll get to, of course, but I like it so far.
Okay.
Okay. Trevor or Spike, either of you guys, Renee, any feedback from you guys? Grady says he likes the color choices.
Sweet. I don't know. Greg, I really wanted the stage to change colors in the background from dark to white.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know how to do it. I tried a zillion trillion times.
Okay, so let's deal with that. Let's look at that. So what I'm going to do, Latisse, is I'm just going to put a layer on top of everything and change colors on that so you can see how it works.
Okay.
Okay.
Fine.
So I'll just create a new layer up here at the top, and I'll just call this stage color. Yeah, okay, whatever, stupid thing. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go to the first frame. Let's see, let me go to the first frame. Okay, first frame already has a blank keyframe in it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my rectangle tool.
Okay.
And I'm going to pick a color, Latisse's favorite color, which is
Green.
green. I don't know which green you like, Latisse, but okay.
Green.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a box, which is the size of the stage. Oh, hold on. I have a stroke color there, which I don't want. If you want to get rid of the stroke color, which is the line around the object, click on the stroke and then click this none symbol here, and it will go away. Okay. All right. This is your fill color, and that's your stroke color. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag out a color which fills the whole stage here. You know, I should show you this. It doesn't matter. You guys, you know, it's a good idea to fill the stage, right? But you guys can actually go beyond the stage, which is the black line there, and it won't show up. You know, whatever's out here in the Netherlands won't show up in your final ad. So I'm actually going to go a little beyond that just to show you guys you can do that. Now, if I want to, now, Latisse, did you want to change the stage color? Did you want it to animate, or did you want it to just change?
I wanted it to like do a slow fade from black to white.
Okay, slow fade from, like, say, black to white. Okay, so let's go ahead and change this color to black. Okay, and now we're going to animate this thing so that it changes from black to white. Now, if you want to animate anything, you first have to turn it into a symbol. That's how you can do keyframe animation, right? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go modify, convert to symbol, and we just call this fake stage. And I'm just going to make it what's called a graphic symbol, which just means you're just going to animate it or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I made something called fake stage and it's black, right? Now, let's say she wants that fake stage to be black for 1 second, which is 30 frames. So that means I have to go down here to frame 30. I have to right click and I have to insert a keyframe. Okay, so now what that means is for the first 30 frames, it's going to stay black, right? Now let's say in that second set of keyframes from 30 to 60, that second, she wants to transition it to white. Okay, so first what I'll do, I'll go down to frame 60, I'll insert a new keyframe. And now what we want is we want it to be white here, and we want it to be black here, and then in between we want it to change from black to white, right? Now, what you can do, there's a couple different ways you can do this. One of the easiest ways to do it, let's see, is you click on the object on the stage, and then you come over here to your properties, and you come over to this thing called color effects, right? And right now it says none. You click on this drop down and you change it to tint, right? Now tint will let you change the color, all right? And right now what we want is we want the color to be white. So let's see, if I grab this tint and I drag it all the way over to the right, 100%, and I make all of these all dragged over, red, green, and blue, basically all the colors at 100% is white, right? Okay, so now under color effects, I've made this thing white here, and of course it's black here, right? Now, if I right click anywhere in the gray area between these two and do create classic tween, now what it does is it shifts it from whatever color it is here to whatever color it is here. So it's going to go from black through dark gray, light gray, and then white.
Yeah, that's what I wanted it to do. Perfect.
Okay. Now, of course, you have to remember, Latisse, that, you know, if, you know, there's times when you want it to stay on the screen and then you want it to transition again. So you would probably then go ahead and put in another keyframe down here so that, you know, just like this, it stays black for 1 second, it transitions to white, it stays white for 1 second, and then
Okay.
you transition to another color.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, now, Trevor had some comments here about your presentation, your project. He says, got some strong concepts and look forward to see where it goes. Colors are also great.
Thank you.
Okay, I think they're right. I think you have did a really nice animatic because you have strong pictures, good color choices, and then your text is very good already. So we know everything's just going to get better. But it's really a great animatic because it shows us exactly what you're talking about doing, right?
Thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to turn off this eyeball here for this top layer so we don't have to look at it. And then let's talk about how her ad is addressing the demographic. Maybe I can just play it here in the window.
Yeah, it'll play.
Okay.
That's a lot of squawkery. I want to clean it up.
A lot of squawkery, huh?
Yeah.
What is squawkery?
I don't know, just a mouthful of words that you're trying to read real quick.
Oh. Okay. So Latisse does a nice job of hitting a lot of demographics in this. She's got a young female. She's got, is that a male?
Yeah, it's a
Is a
dude.
man, a dark-skinned man. She has a, let me see. This is a Caucasian gentleman. And then I think, yeah, at the beginning, she's got a Caucasian and then a dark-skinned female. And so she's addressing both male and female, and then different ethnicities, which is really nice. But she is also focusing on pretty much one age group, right?
That's what I was thinking, but then I was kind of spinning it on people who are going to actually use the app to, I don't know. I need to get some more pictures, I guess.
Okay. Did
Or
you?
change my dim.
So you want to focus on young people and different genders and different ethnicities, and you don't want older generations.
I do want older generation, so it's like I need to find more pictures probably.
Okay, great. Okay.
Just want anyone comfortable using their phone. And the biggest group I know that are the youngsters.
All right.
Using their phone.
Right, because you're thinking of the app and stuff, right? Yeah, you're right. You're right. But although there are some older folks like my mom, who actually uses cell phones, you know.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. So
So we don't want to leave the moms out, so I need to just get some more pictures probably.
don't forget the Karens. Be sure and put a Karen.
Okay. I'll throw some Karen in there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Diversify it up a little bit. Now, the other thing you guys might want to start thinking about when you're doing demographics like this is, you know, not only are there age demographics and incomes and sex like that, but there's also sort of gender demographics, right? So nowadays, you know, there's a higher level of recognition of transgender, of sort of non-binary individuals. So people who, you know, LGBTQ plus, you know, so people who don't fit into the nice little boxes of like male, female. There's definitely a large percentage of people out there. They're being treated with more respect in the media and recognized. And of course, we want to be part of that. So, you know, you can consider, you know, finding pictures of people who are who fit these categories and including them in your ads, because that's part of the demographic, right? And it's a rising demographic. It's not a requirement for you guys, but it's something to consider.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Okay. So I think, Letice, you said this yourself, you know, you're squishing a lot of text in there for us to read in a short period of time.
Yeah, and I
So-
stretched the timing out, and I didn't know if I wanted to animate the text in some type of way, so I feel like it's a lot.
Yeah, and remember that rule of thumb, you should be able to read the text 3 times out loud before it changes to another scene.
Okay.
That's how long text should be on the screen. Now, I know you're thinking like, oh, it's a young audience and they'll get bored. They want something coming right after, you know, one thing after another or whatever. But, you know, your audience is everybody who's reading the ads, and some of them are a little older folks. So,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. But yeah, you have at least great placeholder pictures, at least great placeholder text, and a really nice animatic that shows us what's going to happen. And now it's just, like you said, finding more pictures, condensing the text and all that good stuff.
Okay.
Now, one other thing, you mentioned BOGO in here, and I mean, it's easy to make the assumption that everybody knows what BOGO is, but
And that too, but do they?
you know, you could just put in parentheses down there, buy one, get one free, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, or lose BOGO and just put buy one, get one.
Yeah, you
And
could
then-
do that. You could do
yeah.
that. I mean, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I don't think I knew what BOGO meant until like 2 years ago.
I didn't know what BOGO meant till my mid-20s, so.
Yeah, so it's like, what the hell? I mean, you know, is there a test that I missed that I was supposed to take where I was like supposed to understand all these phrases? You know, like what's another one? Oh, YOLO, right? You guys all know what YOLO means. Like I was like, what the hell is YOLO? You know?
That
Like-
took me forever too. I think it was like the end of the 90s we missed Greg. And then he prepare us
Right.
for the 2000s.
Oh, clearly. Oh, yeah. I slept through the 90s. There's no doubt. The only thing I got from the 90s was Nirvana. And then everything else I didn't pay attention to. But, okay. But it looks great. Let's see.
I want to animate those masks too, I think. I don't know. I don't want it to be too much going on, but it needs some funk.
Okay. Well, yeah, you can throw it in there and show it to us and we can give you some feedback.
Okay.
Let's see. Trevor says, I only learned it because of a song. Otherwise, I would have been lost. So I think he's talking about YOLO or
YOLO.
probably YOLO. Was there a big YOLO song?
Yeah.
Okay. I missed that too, by the way.
Oh man.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay, so then let's see. Livia, did you finish yours or are you still working
It's
on it?
uploading right now. It's uploading.
Okay, all right. So we'll go in here to Livia. Okay, so dar252. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Right here. Oh no, that's the presentation. Damn it. Okay, where is it? Invitation to collaborate. Oh my gosh. Oh. This should be easy, but it's not. Here it is. Invitation to collaborate. Okay. Okay. Are we looking at storyboard or
You have to wait a couple
while
of
it
minutes.
uploads?
It's uploading. Just let me try to upload it again because it's too
Okay.
slow.
So while you're
I
uploading
was
it,
like, I'll send you in an email better.
you're going to email it?
Yes.
Okay. While you're doing that, I'm just bringing up the storyboard so we can sort of refresh our minds to
I
this.
changed the storyboard because that was for, I didn't knew that it was going to be a banner, and the storyboard works for a video and not for a banner.
Oh, got it.
So I changed it.
All right. So you changed it for a banner ad.
Yes.
Okay. And then you're emailing me the file right now.
Yes, it's
Okay. We'll give that a second.
okay.
Okay, got emailed?
Yes.
All right.
It's a draft.
Okay, we'll give it a second. It'll show up eventually, but let's see. We're looking social, we're looking promotions. Oh wait, there it is. One new. Here we go.
Mhm.
Download. Okay. Okay. This is a video you made?
Yes, I exported in video.
Okay. All right, it's downloading and then it should open it in QuickTime. Okay. Wow.
Wonderful.
I have
Oh my
to check.
gosh.
I have to check the time between the things that have to be written.
Yeah,
It's a
you mean
draft,
you mean you
but
want
it's
to
going
keep
to be like this.
Right. That's beautiful. That's
Thank
absolutely
you.
beautiful. I love the colors because it's not so like red, lovey-dovey. It's like, ooh, energetic. Spice.
Okay, well, so of course colors play a big part in communicating. So what's yellow known for?
Energy.
Hungry.
Hungry.
Yes, hungry.
Yellow
Warm.
is hungry, so like you're hungry for love.
Uh-oh.
Yes, really.
I
Yellow
would
is
like a
hungry.
love sandwich, please. Well, let's see. Let me go. Let's see. What do colors mean in advertising? I mean, there's a whole, this stuff is all over this. Okay, here we go. Red is the color of fire and blood, so it's associated with energy, war, danger, strength, power. Let's see. There's so many. Okay, here's a breakdown. I mean, you can find this all over the internet. So here's yellow. Yellow is the color of sunshine. It's associated with joy, happiness, intellect, and energy.
That's what Trevor said in the text.
Oh, isn't it usually
Optimism.
optimism? Yeah, so, right. Use yellow to evoke pleasant, cheerful feelings. Okay, so yellow certainly grabs your attention. I mean, it's a bright color, but it's sunshiny and it's good. And of course, if you're looking for love, you want all that sunshiny, good love stuff, right? Now, so we got yellow as a predominant color here. So let's just go through this one little segment at a time. So now we have this screen. I'm just checking out the people here.
Me too.
Rowan has an attitude problem. Frank's in love with himself.
Tom is kind of cute. I'm about to swipe left on Tom. Ooh,
I'm
Lindsay.
sorry, but Tom is an AI creation, right?
Tom is cute.
Yeah. By the way, you guys know that some of those online agencies got dinged because they were actually putting up fake profiles. Yeah, they were like, so what would happen is, you join. I'm not saying which ones, got dinged. You can look it up, but like, I'm just going to use Match.com because it's easy for me to remember. I don't know if they got dinged for this or not, but you'd sign up for Match.com, and then all of a sudden, you get a few, alerts, email alerts, or little hearts or whatever from some good-looking people that are around your age, and they'd be like, "Hey, I saw your profile. You seem kind of cool, whatever." And it was BS. It wasn't real people. It was either artificial intelligence or it was a member of the staff of that
What?
company.
The staff was in on it?
Yeah,
Uh-uh.
like they just try to make it seem like, yeah, people are interested in you, you're happening, you're hip, you're cool, when really you were getting zero responses to your
That is
profile.
awful. The
Yeah.
staff is on it, clocking in to, mm-mm.
Yeah, so that's bad news. And of course, some of them got caught doing it. Let's see. Man, some employees had a lot of time on their hands, says Trevor. Yeah, that's true. Not only that, they probably had a lot of fun saying things like, "Oh, you're really attractive and I would really like to meet you," but not really. Okay. So anyway, so here we are. We've got the Lindsay Addison app running, and she's got some placeholders here. And this is a nice layout for all the different. She's showing all the different demographics, right?
Mhm,
Uh,
love it.
although it is focused, it's sort of youth focused, right? Okay, so then we have these cool little speech balloons where all these guys are saying different things that they want to like connect with you for. So movie night, love, sex on the weekends,
I
let's dine out.
knew Tom was the
Yes, but not during the week. That's when I watch my shows. That's when I watch Peacock. Okay.
best.
Shopping. Okay. So that's a really clever thing there. And then, of course, I think Livia was saying she has to adjust her timing
Yes.
to make sure that this stuff stays on the screen long
Mhm.
enough so we can read it. And of course, blue is the complementary color of what? Anybody know?
Hey, hold on.
Blue is a complementary color of yellow. So if you go to color.adobe.com, go to the Adobe color wheel. You can go to complementary and you take your little happy wheel here and you move it over into like the gold area. Let's see, let me put it in the gold here. Let's see, it's showing purple, but really it's kind of blue. Anyway, the bottom line is this. Blue and yellow or purple and gold, whatever you want to call them, they're complementary colors, which means that they complement each other. One stands out against the other. So it's really good to use these in advertising because, first of all, they go well together, but secondly, they have a good contrast, right? So, so she used blue on yellow. Okay, let's go to what the next scene is. So, okay, then we have some words being shot out at you, emotions, and these are, scaling up emotions, countless. Okay, so countless emotions. Okay. So you might want to put the word countless before emotions.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah. So
This is not my language, remember.
yeah, right. So yeah, no problem. So what's happening is, what's cool about this ad is she's doing a sort of, it's almost like a math problem. It's a form of calculus. She's saying, right here, she's showing you all of the emotions, and then she's summing it up afterwards. She's saying, guess what? Here's all the things that people are looking for. And then she's saying it's countless emotions. She's restating it in the next scene. And then, download now. And And so you're thinking to yourself, oh, wow, if I get this app, and this is also part of the calculus of what her ad is saying. She's saying, hey, guess what? There's tons of people out there looking for countless emotions, and you can find them all in our app. That's the math. That's the hook. That's why we want you to buy this app or get on it free and, you know, for 30 days or whatever, because you're going to tap into this countless emotion thing happening, right? Yeah, I think it's incredibly well done storyboard.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
I like the way the logo's looking and all that. That's what the app, you know, button is going to look like. You know, looks really good. Trevor says really great work. Okay, any feedback from any of you? Grady, Renee, anybody have any, you know, suggestions, things you think she should change? Any of you not like the color yellow and think you'd be turned off by? I mean, you know, I'm just curious.
I love it. Olivia, how'd you get the background to move so smooth
Oh,
like
and the
that?
last part,
Just that whole, yeah, the
yes,
honeycomb background.
yes, I made a little video in After Effects
Mhm.
and included in that part.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
Very nice. So putting in a little After Effects video in the background, that's clever.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right. That's really nice.
Grady says, look very professional. Yellow is my fave color. So you just got Grady signed up.
Grace going to get the app.
Countless
Countless
emotions,
emotions
Grady. Yeah, Greg, get out of my head. Countless emotions.
coming your way, Grady. Okay. Very, very nice. Yeah, I would say definitely look at the timing, like you said, of how long everything is on the screen.
Mhm.
And you know, some places where you had placeholders, like on all the phones, you know, definitely drop in whatever the heck is going to be there. But it looks really good. Trevor says, I mean, it's a good song. Okay. All right. So very nice. Looks great. All right. What else we got from you guys? Any more progress on storyboards or animatics or any of that good stuff? Okay. All right. Well, I don't see anybody chiming in, and I don't see any text messages here, so I'm assuming that's all we have for today. So let's do this. Why don't we take a little 5-10 minute break, give you guys a chance to get something to drink or whatever, and then we'll come back and we'll start learning some more stuff about Adobe Animate here and about these type of ads we're doing. Okay. So let's see, it's 1:54. We'll call it 1:55. Let's come back at 2:05, and then we'll do some more stuff.
Sweet.
Okay. Where is my Zoom? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, so I am back. I know that you guys are gonna filter back over the next few minutes. So let me go ahead and go to the class website here. Okay, so one of the things that I put on the website, we didn't really have much of a chance to go over, but was asking you guys to go sign up for a free website from this link here. Did any of you guys get a chance to do that?
I did, but I was having difficulty with setting you up as a extra user.
Thank
Okay, well,
you.
I can go through that right now. So anyway, just to sort of go through the process, this isn't a web design class, and I'm not going to expect, you know, hardcore web design skills from you guys. But when we do make these ads, I do want us to be able to put them up on the internet and see how they work, right? And so for that, a website is useful to serve as just kind of a shell to hold these. Now, to get a free website, you can go to this link here on the Dreamco site, and you'll go to this web hosting for students and it's free. You can just click on it, sign up. Unfortunately, it's only going to give you 3 months worth of web hosting, which means it's going to dry up before the last month of the semester. But that's okay because we just want to use it to test stuff out. So anyway, you just fill out this form and you go through the process, and they give you a free account. When you log into your account, let me see if I can log in. I've got a couple of accounts at SiteGround. Let's see. Don't tell me. Maybe it'll do. Maybe it'll remember. Oh, come on, pukey thing. We don't like you, login screen. And clearly you don't like me either. Okay, let me try. I think if I just go there through the regular login, I'm hoping one of my little logins will be remembered. God, evilness abounds. Okay, let's see. Let me log in one more time. Let me try one more time. This time I'm gonna go in with my Pima ID. Now, please work or else evilness. Okay. Authentication required. Please select where we should send this. Okay, send code. Well, at least it's going to let me in as long as I authenticate correctly. Okay, there's my code. All right, we put that in. What is the deal? Why me? Why is this happening? Okay. Try one more time. Copy, paste. Make sure there's not any extra letter there. Submit. Okay. Okay, now Trevor said he was having trouble with SiteGround, but that's because he used it last semester. So it's true. SiteGround will only let you get this free account once because it's tied to your Pima email address. And for people like Trevor, what I did was I made I created a special website just for him because he used his email address last semester. If any of you have that trouble, let me know. I'll create a website for you. Anyway, when you get in here, you'll see something like this. It's your control screen. You can click on websites. This link right up here, and then you can click on new website and create a website via cPanel. Let's see, you can add a new website using the add-in domain tool cPanel. I was hoping to just be able to show this to you guys, but let me see what they're going to force me to do here. You can click on this thing called cPanel. You can come down here to what's called WordPress installer. And then it's a really easy process to create a website. You basically just click install now, and then you just it's probably just gonna install it in your main directory here. You can leave all this junk up here alone, and then you just have to put in your username. So I always put in like an email address that I'm familiar with. And then you can use their password, or you can say, my cool password, 57 or whatever. And then you can put in your email address, like gjlamo@pima.edu. And then what I suggest you do down here is click Classic Editor. You can leave the WordPress starter in there. That might be helpful to some of you. And then you just click the install button. And what it will do is it will install a WordPress website for you. Now, once you have that website, I can show you how to drop your code in there from your projects so that you can display them on the internet. But all I'm really asking for you to do right now is a couple things. One, sign up for the site. Two, if there's not WordPress already installed for you, go ahead and install it. And three, set me up as an additional user so I can get into your account and help you with things. Now, let me show you that second part, or that third part, which is setting me up as a user, right? So to set me up as a user, what you would have to do is log into your account. And so you would log into your account by going to your website. I'm just going to go to my class website, right? And I can help any of you guys that have questions about this stuff. And then you would go to the user section and you would add me as a user. So how does that work? You go over to the user section and you go add new. Okay. For the username, just put in glamo. For the email address, you can put glamo@gmail.com. First name, Greg, last name, Lamo. Website, you can leave alone, and then show password. And then I asked you to put in this, I think it was Peachy 2020 as the password. It's just, it's probably going to tell you that your password sucks. We don't care.
Actually telling me that I can't even make a website or add users or anything unless I upgrade.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty bizarre. Well, of course, it should let you make a website because that's what the stupid account is for. Now, it may be that they already created a website for you, Spike. So maybe what I need to do is.
I think I found my website.
Did you find it?
I think so.
Okay. Well, anyway, so you can put in Peachy, you can click, or Peachy 2020. You can put confirm use of weak password. You know, for role, change my role to administrator, which means I can get in and do anything I want, and then click add new user. And what that's going to do, it's going to send me an email. It's going to say, hey, Greg, you know, Amelia and Livia and Renee and Latisse and Grady and all these, Trevor, you know, added you to their website. You're now a user. You can log in with username glamo, password Peachy 2020, and you can get into their websites and you know, make changes and help them in whatever they need, right? So, you know, once again, this is being recorded. So if you're not quite sure how this works, you can go in here and do this. Now, I'm not sure when SiteGround gives you this free account, I'm not sure if they automatically give you a WordPress site that's already there, or if you have to set one up. Does anybody know? Has anybody signed up and seen what the dealio is? Okay. Well, give it a shot when you have a chance. If you have questions or problems, let me know. It is a bit of a challenge for you guys because who don't know web design to get this set up. By the way, you can write to their tech support and they can help you with this process too. And I can show you how to get to their tech support from their screen. Now I just have to figure out where the hell SiteGround is on my tabs. I don't even see it, so maybe I have to log back in. Let's see, siteground.com, log in. Let's see, gjlamo@pima.edu. This is the one that worked before, so we're kind of hoping that it works again. Okay, so if you need help from these guys, let's see, get quick help. You can click on that. You can view the help center. Here they have a bunch of answers to your questions. And then if you need additional help, like let's say, you know, this tutorial tells you how to make a WordPress website. But I want to get to the point where we have a question where they can help us with. So I say, I have a super hard question. Okay, let's see. So trying to get to the damn, where is it where they'll let you ask them a question? Let me go back to this help. Okay, View Help Center. There's a place where you can, oh, here it is, Contact Us. Just click on Contact Us. You go for technical assistance. You can go for like WordPress assistance. And then first you have to write your question to them, right? So, you know, it should populate it with your website right there. And you can say, you know, you type in your question. I have a super hard WordPress question. You know, whatever your question is. Now, first they're going to try and point you to one of their knowledge base answers, right? And then if that doesn't work, yeah, here we go. You come down here and you click on chat. And then you can actually chat with one of their technicians and they'll help you out. Or you can call them using this PIN number right here. So in other words, like a lot of places online nowadays, you have to go through the whole process of typing in a question, and then they're going to try and help you with their existing online help. And then if that doesn't work, then they'll finally grant you access to the golden kingdom of chatting with them online. But their tech support is very good, and they'll help you out with any questions that you have. Okay, any questions from you guys about that whole process of setting up a website?
Yes, I have a question. I missed something on adding you as a user because I still am running into the same problem.
It wouldn't let you add me as a user?
Well, I must have missed something because I'm still getting the upgrade your.
Well, that's what Spike said. You know, it's possible I could be steering you guys down the wrong track here. It could be that these accounts are so limited that they only let you add one user.
Okay.
So I tell you what, why don't we make this easy on you guys? Instead of having you add me as a user, if I need to get in your account, maybe you can just share your login details with me. Does that
Sure.
sound fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
What would you like us to do?
Well, instead of adding me as a user, because it's sounding like SiteGround's not going to let you do that, if it comes up that I need to get into your account, maybe you can just share your username and password with me so I can get in. Is that fair?
That's not.
I can do that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I promise I won't use it for any nefarious purposes.
Yeah.
Letice, I won't go into your offshore accounts.
Okay, please don't. At least don't spread it what you see in there. I mean,
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
okay.
Okay. So now all we're doing right now is just trying to get these SiteGround sites, sign up for them, and try and get WordPress installed if it's not installed already, just so that you have a little website that we can use. And then, you know, write down your username and password so that you can share that with me if you need to, and we can get into your account. Now, let me show you a little bit of how this is going to work. Letice, do you mind if I use your?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use Letice's project as an example of what will happen at sort of the tail end of this project. So in other words, after you guys have, see, hey, Greg, can you run back to how you had to use or miss something? Okay, so.
Yeah, that was me. My bad.
Yeah, got it. So here's Letice's project, and you know we know that it's just an animatic or whatever. But when you get to the point where your project is totally finished, right? Then what you want to do is you want to export it so that it can be used on the internet. Now, in order to export it, what you have to do is called publishing it, right? And the first thing you need to do is save your project in a folder somewhere. So what I did was I did, you know, file, save as. And I created a folder on my desktop called Letice, and I just saved the whole FLA, which is the main file, as contour covers animatic.fla. So I saved that in that folder. Boom, I'm done, right? Now, when you publish your file, it's going to publish it in the same folder that the FLA file is saved in. So that's why you want to make a folder so it just doesn't go all over your desktop or something, right? Now, before you publish it, you can go File and you can do Publish Settings. Now, Publish Settings tells you how you want your document to be published, right? So, for example, there's a couple things in here that are already preset. Loop timeline is one of them. And what that means is your ad will play over and over again, right? You can turn that off if you only want your ad to play once.
Does that, I'm sorry, what if you have the stop action?
If you have a stop action, it will stop. It
Okay.
will stop. Loop is for things that don't have stop actions. They'll just keep playing.
Okay.
Right? Include hidden layers. Now, this is a big one. Sometimes you guys probably have made ads, in Flash, or maybe you're starting this process now, actually, and you'll turn off a layer. You'll turn off the eyeball for that layer, and then you'll play the ad, but it will show that layer anyway, right? The reason is because it's defaulted to always show hidden layers, okay? So, if you're trying to test something and the layer that you don't want to see keeps coming up, you literally have to delete that layer. You have to get rid of all the junk on that layer, or else you can't test it without that junk coming up, right? Unfortunately, that's the way that Flash works, or Adobe Animate. It publishes everything, whether you have the layer turned off or not. So, if you got stuff that you're just testing and it's screwing everything up, just throw it away. You can always recreate it. Now, other things that it will do, it'll take all your images, it'll export it into a folder called Images. It'll do the same with your sounds and your JavaScript. It automatically creates JavaScript. And then you can check these two boxes here when you're publishing. And as I said, we'll revisit this down the road when you guys are finished with your projects. But you can click Center Stage, which means it'll take your ad and put it right in the middle of the web page, horizontally and vertically. And then you can click Make Responsive. And Make Responsive means you can take your browser window and you can shrink it or enlarge it, and the ad will actually get smaller or larger with it, right? Now, you might want to check both of these because when we're looking at your ads online, it's great to have them be in the center, and it's great if they're responsive. It's just a good way to test things out. Now, after you set all your settings in here, all you have to do is hit the Publish button, and it will write that stuff into the folder where you saved your original document, your FLA, right? So I clicked Publish here a few minutes ago, and let's go look at what it wrote. So remember, in Leticia's folder here, all I saved was contour covers animatic.fla. Everything else, all these other files were saved when I hit the Publish button. Now, that doesn't include the recover file. That's something that Adobe Animate makes to literally recover the document if your computer or the program crashes. So we don't care about that. What it did make was it made an HTML page. It made a JavaScript library. So it took all that ActionScript code, that you had in there or whatever kind of functionality you had, it wrote it into JavaScript. And then it made a folder called Images, and it put in all of the images that she's using in her ad, right? Now, what that means is if we open this HTML page in a browser, we should see her ad, right? So let's see if that works. If I right click on this and I say open with, and then, I bring up a browser like, what am I using right now? Firefox? Let's do Firefox.
Ooh.
Okay, so notice a couple things. Notice her ad is in the center, right? And then notice this. Let's see if I can get it to do it. I can't get it to shrink.
Yeah, it shrinks. Like when you shrink it, the whole ad still stays visible.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, theoretically, it's working, of course, but theoretically, you could make an ad that actually got really tiny, like for a cell phone, and you can make an ad that gets really big for somebody that's got a really big desktop screen, right? So responsive. Now, what we're going to do with your WordPress sites is we're basically going to take this HTML code and stick it into one of your web pages And then we're going to have to upload the images folder and the JavaScript file and all that stuff. So in other words, we're going to have to take all of these files here, these three here, and upload them to your WordPress websites, and then drop in the code on an HTML page so we can get your whole thing to play. Now, I know it's a certain amount of effort to do that, but the reality is, if you're an interactive designer, if you're doing, design for somebody, it doesn't necessarily stop when you finish designing the ad. Let's say somebody pays you a few $100s, let's say they pay you $500 to $700 or whatever to design an ad or two for their website. So you make the storyboards, you work with them, you get the pictures and the text from them. You go through the whole process like we're going through here. You pitch the idea, you pitch the storyboards, they approve it at every level. And then you make the animatic, you make the final animation, they love it, they're ready, they tell you when they want it launched, right? Now, they're not gonna put the ad up, you're gonna have to put it up, right? So, you're gonna publish the damn ad, you're gonna get access to their website, you're gonna upload your HTML and put up your image folder and your JavaScript file, you're gonna put them all in the right place, and you're gonna test them and make sure they work, right? And then you get your paycheck and you go sign up for Peacock, which is free. But anyway, okay, does that all make sense as a reason why we would want to do this? Okay, so there we have it. So we're not going to do that today, but I just wanted you guys to get started on the process. Let's go back here. Okay, so those are the published settings. Notice that you have published settings for different kinds of things too, like you can take your images and you can crunch them down into smaller or larger size. You can take your JavaScript libraries and you can make changes to that. And then
I want to do that, Greg. Like,
well,
should we be doing that?
Well, let's see. Let's go into advanced image settings here. So, well, let's say most of the time what the rule is you want to crunch things down to be as small as possible. So like an 8-bit file is 1/4 of the size of a 32-bit file. Now, here's an example of when you'd want to do this. Let's say, Latice, that you made this ad and you presented it to your client, and all they had seen was, the Adobe Animate versions of the ad. And you had told them from the beginning, you had said, you know what, when this is on your website, it's going to be lower quality because, what you're seeing is a high quality on my computer, but the internet is 72 pixels per inch, right? Well, so let's say you leave all the defaults here and it exports at 8-bit. And when the client sees your ad, they're very disappointed. They're like, well, it looks kind of blurry, I thought it would look a lot better. Well, you can tell them, hey, listen, I can bump your ad up to a quality where it's going to look as good as what it looks like on my computer, but it's going to be slower to download.
Oh.
It's going to be a bigger file,
Okay.
right? In fact, it's going to be 4 times as large, right? Now, that might not be as big a deal if it's a very short ad without a lot of content in it. And the client may say, yeah, I don't care if it takes a couple seconds more to download. I want it to look good, so then you're at the mercy of the client at that point. So, you might have to bump it up and put it on the website. They might like the new one. It might take a little longer to download, but everybody's happy. And now you have Peacock, right? Okay. So, and this is true of about both audio and video. You have the ability to take audio and crunch it down so that it's just like the smallest file ever, but it's also going to be, it's going to sound like internet audio. It's going to sound like music that's very thin or voiceovers that are very thin. It won't be in stereo, it'll be mono. But this is all important to get your files down small enough so they can be downloaded onto cell phones and stuff. But with every one of these options, the sound and the images, you have the ability to go in and make them higher or lower quality. Okay, let's cancel out of that bad boy.
That's something we should ask our clients up front.
Well, they're going to presume that you know this stuff, so it might be something you want to do some research on. Most of the time, if you're doing an ad for somebody, the odds are pretty good they've seen internet ads, and they don't have an expectation that it's going to look like, you know, 12-star gold ads that they see on television.
Okay.
One way that you can sort of prime them for this expectation is you can show them, you can preview lower quality ads to them.
Okay.
In other words, instead of showing my clients this flash interface here, I would show them this. I'd show them the actual output. Do you see what I mean?
Right.
Because this is the quote low quality that they're going to see on their website.
Okay.
So
It shows them some of your other work in the low quality.
yeah. So in other words, if you have a client and you know they hire you to do an ad, and you know you make a little storyboard in something like Photoshop or any program you want to use, the odds are pretty good that the storyboard itself is going to have these high quality photos, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you get to the point where you start designing the ad, then start showing them, you know, don't show them the high quality stuff that's happening here in Flash or Adobe Animate. Show them the output so that they get acclimated to seeing that level of quality. And you know, and if there's sound on it, they'll hear that internet sound, they'll see the internet quality pictures, and then by the time it comes out, yeah, they'll be like, oh, okay, that's what it looks like, right?
Or at that point, they can be like, hey, we want that crisper.
Yeah. Okay. All right, good. All right, let's see what else we got here. Okay, I got to go back to the class website. You may not drink alcohol. Okay. Oof. Arg. All right, let's see. Demo. Okay. So I wanted to do one more demo for you guys today. So what I wanted to demo was what are called animated masks. And so a mask is a cutout in any shape. It could be like a circle or a square. It could be even a star shape or something like that. That becomes a window, and you can only see through that shape. Everything else is hidden. Okay. So let's make a mask together in Adobe Animate. Let's make an animated mask. So go into Animate and go File, New. And, you know, let's see. I'm just going to click on this default character animation. I'm going to click on the default HD 1280 by 720. In other words, if you just click on character animation, you'll be good. Hit create, you know, leave the 30 frames per second, all that kind of stuff. So now we're going to have a blank white screen here, right? And a timeline. Now, the first thing you might want to do when you create an animation is change the background color of your stage. So you can do that by going Modify Document, and then click here on the stage color and change it to whatever color you want. I think I'm going to make mine like a gray background. I just picked a light gray. Now, by the way, if you so desire, this is the place where you can change the frame rate as well. You can also change the size of the frame, the stage in here. And, you know, you can do this thing called scale content, which means when somebody scales up the ad, like I was doing in the browser, it'll scale everything. But let's leave that off as a default or whatever. Now, if you're wondering when you might want to change the frame rate, the answer to that is if you want to change the quality of the animation. So in other words, if you create an ad that's 30 frames per second and it ends up being just a little too big, you could knock it down to 24 frames per second. And of course, that's 6 fewer frames per second. So that means the file will now be smaller, right? But there's always a trade-off. If the file is smaller, that also means that it's a little jerkier. It's not as smooth, right? So that's the trade-off, right? On the other hand, you might have started to create something at 24 frames per second, and then you're like, oh, you know, it's a small file, but it doesn't look very good. So you could bump it up to 30 frames per second, and then it would look better. Now, of course, you'd have to adjust your times on your animation so that, because now 1 second would no longer be 24 frames, it would be 30. So you might have to move things around a little bit so that, you know, the timing was right. So you can change the frames per second or FPS of your animation. Okay, so anyway, all right, so you go ahead and you've got a background color here, right? Now in this first layer here, it always starts you with one layer, and you've got a blank empty screen there, empty box, blank keyframe in your first frame. Now go ahead and click on your text tool and come over here onto your stage, click and drag out a text box, and then go ahead and type some sort of a phrase that you can expand to fill the whole page. So an easy one might be the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dogs. Now I'm going to take my phrase here. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to go over here to my properties box on the right, and I'm going to put my mouse over this 8 points. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to drag it to the right. And I want to keep dragging until this thing gets as big as it can get, right? Now, let's see. Now, I now want to try and make my box a little bigger. Let's see if it'll let me do this. Okay, it looks like it's not. Let me see if I can put in a bigger number here. So it's 96. Let me put in 200 and see what happens. Oh, yeah, okay, good. It does let me do that. Okay, so let me put in 150. Basically, I'm trying to get this thing to fill up my whole screen. Okay. Now, the only reason we're doing this is so we have some content on the screen that we can use to reveal from our mask. Okay. Now we can go down here and we can double click on the layer, which is called layer 1, and we can just name it text. So keep in mind that the background is the stage, and we change that color up here under modified document, and that layer 1 is whatever content we put in here first. So that was some text that I put in there, right? Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to animate a shape, okay? And we're just going to animate that shape going across the screen here. So we're going to make a new layer. So click on your little plus symbol here, new layer. And we'll call this, we'll just call this shape, right? And now what we're going to do is we're going to click on our shape tool here. Now, you can choose any shape you want. You can choose a rectangle, you can choose an oval, or you can choose this poly star tool, right? Now, I think I'm going to choose the poly star tool because I think it'll let me pick what I want to make. Let me see. Let's see. Right now it's making a polygon. How do I change that? Oh, yeah, here it is over here. So if you click on the poly star tool and you drag it out, it makes a polygon, but you can do Command Z to get rid of that. Theoretically, you can. Let me see. Command Z. Okay. Now then, click on your poly star tool here, which is the hexagon there. And now where it says tool options, you can change it to be a star. And you can change the number of sides of the star and how big the points are. And now when you click, it makes a star, right? Now it doesn't matter what the star is filled with, what color it's filled with. You can just make a star, or like I said, you can make an oval, a circle, a square. Just make yourself a shape, right? All right, so I made a little star here. It doesn't matter what color it is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this star into a symbol so I can animate it. And by the way, put your shape up in the top left corner of your document here. Okay, so I'm going to go modify, convert to symbol. I'm going to turn this, I'm just going to call this shape and make it a graphic symbol. There's 3 kinds here, graphic, button, and movie clip. We did a button already. Of course, the movie clip has its own timeline, so it's its own mini animation. Okay, we're going to call this shape, and we're going to hit OK. All right, so now it puts a blue line around it, which means that it's a symbol. And now what we want to do is we want to animate this symbol so that it goes from the top left corner to the lower right corner. Okay, so we have to think about how long we want this animation to take. So Latisse, how long should our star take to go across the screen?
4 seconds.
4 seconds. Okay. So come down here to 4 seconds, which would be 120 frames. Right click and do insert keyframe. Now you'll notice that our text disappears because our text only existed on frame 1. So in other words, we're going to have to go down to the second layer here, the text layer, click on frame 120, right click and do insert keyframe, and then that will keep the text on the stage the whole time, right? Now, when we went down to 120 and inserted a keyframe, it of course inserted that star in the same place that it was before, right? So now what we have to do is click on that star, make sure you're on frame 120 of the top layer, and just simply drag it down to the lower right-hand corner. Okay, so frame 1, and of course this is also how you do basic animation in Adobe Animate. Frame 1, we have a keyframe with a symbol on it, which is the star. Frame 120, we have a same keyframe, the star, but now we've moved it to the lower right corner. Okay, click anywhere in the gray area between those two keyframes, right click in there, and do Create Classic Tween. Now, you have an animation with the star going over the text, right? Now, so far, so good. So we got a gray background. We've got a text layer that just kind of sits there. And now we have a star animating over it, okay? Now, let me show you the next thing.
Hey, Greg, why is my star and outline separating from each other?
Oh, your star and your outline are separating from each other?
Yeah. It
It's
must have been a
probably,
drawing mode I was in, but I don't know what.
I think I know why it is. Let me show you something, Latisse. So I'm gonna let's see, I want to click off of my star here because I don't want to change its color. Okay, so I'm gonna make a new star here, but I want to give it a different color. So I'm gonna give it a green fill, and I'm gonna give it a yellow outline or a yellow stroke, right? Now I'm gonna make my star here, and I'm gonna increase the size of my stroke. Let's see, that's the style. Stroke size right here. Oh, let me click on it. All right, so you can see the green star with the yellow stroke, right? Now, Latisse, when you clicked on this and turned it into a symbol, if you just clicked once, then all you got was the middle part.
Okay, that's probably what happened.
So what you have to do is double click, and it selects both the fill and the stroke.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so, all right, so here we are. We've got the star. It's animating across, right? Now, what we're going to do, we're going to turn the star into a mask. Now, once again, the way you have to think about a mask is as a window in this type of program. So what's going to happen is when we turn the star into a mask, everything below this layer, which means the entire text, is going to disappear completely. It's going to be masked out. The only thing we're going to see is whatever is visible through the window of the star shape, which means all we're going to see is some text like this letter B and the letter V and the letter E and stuff like that. All we're going to see is text slowly reveal itself as the star shape goes over it, okay? Now here's how you make the mask. Come over here to the shape layer, right? Come over to where it says the word shape and right click on that and simply choose the word mask. Now what happens is the text disappears because it gets masked out completely. Now if you grab your playback head and you slowly move it to the right, you'll slowly see things being revealed in the star shape. You can see my star shape there. As the star animates and moves across the screen, it's a window which reveals, you know, whatever is behind it. Now, granted, this is a pretty bizarre little mask here. It's hard to imagine a animation that you would use where this would work, right? You know, a little star like this over some text. However, if it was something like a big rectangle and you were animating it over something you wanted to be revealed, like maybe it was a big rectangle and you were animating it over each word one at a time so that they would then each appear, right? Then it has a more useful purpose, right? And of course, you know, if you want to see how this looks, you can click on the loop button and hit your play. And then, oops, I'm sorry, I always forget this. You have to click on the blue. When you click on the loop, you have to click on the end of the blue there and at the top of the timeline and drag it all the way down to the end of your movie. And then you can hit the play button. And now it will play all the way to the end and it will just keep looping, right? Okay, now like I said, you might look at this exercise and be like, that seems kind of strange. I don't know when I would use that. But actually, animated masks are very, very useful, and you'll probably find some uses for them. It'll probably be the solution for some problems that you have that you want to solve. Okay, so I'll go ahead and stop that right here. So how are we doing? Did some of you guys try that and have some success?
I'm gonna retry it.
Okay, because your star got blown, right?
Yeah. How did you blow the text up to take up the full stage? Because my box won't expand.
What I had to do was highlight the whole text and come over here and put in a really big number like 200, and then it just pushed the box open.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then I changed it back down to 150 because 200 was too much. But
Okay.
okay, so yeah, like I said, if either you didn't do this right now or you did it and you had some trouble with it, you can check out the recording that I'm making of today's class and maybe try it again later and see if you can get the animated mask to go across a background and reveal whatever's behind there. And then that'll be one more tool that you can put in your toolbox for using Flash or Adobe Animate. And also remember, we did the button earlier today. We learned how to make a button and how to do the different hover states and click states, and then also how to add ActionScript code or JavaScript code, which can either take you to a remote URL or can even take you to a different location on the timeline. Okay, let's see. Any questions from you guys right now? Okay, so let me tell you where we are with the project and the book and all that kind of stuff. So I am putting the responsibility of the book chapters on you guys. You know, I do want you to buy that book, the Adobe Animate book that is mentioned in the syllabus, and do one chapter a week, and then take those finished chapters, basically take the output, you know, your finished Flash file or whatever, and upload it to your Google Drive so I can see that you've done the work. This is just, you know, it's homework, but it's just a self-study type of procedure, which helps you learn the program and learn all these tips and tricks that'll help you do the projects. And then, of course, we're working on projects and stuff. Now, as far as this first project goes, you know, we don't have a set deadline yet because what we're doing is it's the first project. You guys are just learning the program, and so I don't want to set a deadline that's going to stress you guys out. What I like to do is just set mini deadlines, you know, one right ahead of the next one to push you guys to get to the next step. And then when it looks like everybody's there where they can finish, we'll set a deadline for the whole project. So right now we've got people who have created storyboards and we got people who have started creating animatics, right? If you're not there yet, you want to get up to that point so that, you know, you're kind of caught up. And then, of course, after animatics, those of you who have created animatics, like people like Livia and Latisse, your next step is to create what we call a first draft. So in the first draft, you know, in Latisse's case, she would have the timing down a little better. She would have some of her final pictures. She might compress the text. So it would look a lot more like the finished ad, but of course there's more drafts that she can go through to finish it. So that's the process we're working at. When I see that everybody is up there, you know, in the animatic sort of first draft territory, I'm going to give you guys a deadline, and then we'll work to finish it towards that. Okay. Any other questions or comments or anything about what we're doing here?
You know what? I'm trying to resize that box of text, but my height is grayed out.
Okay. Well, you don't resize the box of text. You just resize the text, and it should push the box open. let me show you what I mean. I'm gonna get rid. Okay,
Just make it
so
large.
see this text here.
Mhm.
If I highlighted this text, it's in a box, right?
Mhm.
If I go over here and I type in, go over to properties and click on the size, right? So let me just make this like 60, right? Let's say when you typed your text, you typed it at 60, right? Now this is what you have to do. Click on your type tool, highlight all your text, and just put in a really freaking big number over here, like 200.
Okay.
And
I
it,
was the
it should
wrong
blow
one.
it up. And then if that's too big, then you just shrink the number.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Yeah, I agree. I tried to do that too, Leticia. I was like, clicking on this thing, I'm like, come on, it only goes
Been at this
to the
whole
left. It won't go high or low, you know? It's like,
Sorry, I am missing the link.
yeah, you are the missing link.
I am missing the link and a link.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, so we only have a few minutes left of class. If you guys have any other questions, I can answer those. Let's see. So Olivia says, is the banner going to have sound? Well, I'm going to leave that up to you guys. I'm not going to require sound on this very first project just because it's an added complication, and many of you, it's your first time using this program. So Olivia, if you want to put sound in there, be my guest. Please go for it. Sound, obviously, I'll add something to projects, so that would be great to see. But if you guys don't want to add sound, you won't get any points deducted. Okay. So hopefully, Olivia, you heard that. If not, I'll just type it in here. So I'll just say sound is not required. Oh, she got it. Okay, good. Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? Try setting up those WordPress websites. If you have any problems at all, let me know. I'm happy to help. Like I said, it's not a web design class, so we're just trying to create some websites that are like shells that will hold our ads and our content and stuff like that. Okay, other questions or comments? Okay, all right, so I'm gonna let you guys go. Please work on your ads and try to take them to the next level so we can see some stuff on Thursday. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, you guys have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Thanks.
Bye.
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 I wanted to ask about something after class.
Okay, great. So I will go ahead and end the class, and then you and I can stay on and talk.
Okay.
Okay, so let me go to the meeting here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to turn off the recorder.